That voice still gets me. That voice.
Every time. How's it
I still have a
going?
hard time believing that's my voice that you manipulated.
You know,
It's. Can I say haunting? Um,
it doesn't get tired. It doesn't get boring to me. It absolutely doesn't get boring. I think I love it every time I hear it. How are you doing, Richard? How are you? How is everybody?
I'm busier than a one-legged dog in a butt kicking contest. Does that make sense?
Well,
How about you? How about
oh,
you?
you know what? I've been so busy. I've been busy, busy, busy. Last night, we hosted a team from Midland and Aurelia, Ontario, Canada, Black Moon Paranormal. So the
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen came up and we investigated two different venues. We took them to the Vampire Cemetery located in Wilno, Ontario, which is a very famous, infamous vampire cemetery. And
Really?
then we took them to our sweet spot, our honey spot, Buck Hill Road. And
There you
I
go.
think they left pretty happy. Let me tell you.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple of investigations already booked. Hopefully, they get a chance to stay. I got some things I'm looking at personally, as you know, that may change whether or not if I'm here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take a look at that. But just basically, I made the mistake of saying yes. I'll go to the gym every other day at the gym for a half an hour, just working out on weights.
Well, that's not so bad. That's a good thing. That's a positive thing.
My body's cursing me out. What are you talking about?
My body's tired just looking at you. I get it. Hey everybody, Meg, Jen, Tara, Jean, welcome back. Thank you so much. And everybody, we can't see your comments. We can't see your comments unless you type in. We don't know you're here. So
Thank
if
you,
you're here
Tara.
and you want to share a hello, please, 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 please don't hesitate to say hi so we know you're here. I cannot see all your comments. We simulcast. So
Yep.
we'll kind of go through it again. Because we simulcast on multiple networks, I can't see your comments, but Richard can. So please don't think I'm ignoring them. If you have a question, if there's something you'd like to
Yeah.
know, please
Sure.
you can put my name specifically in there if there's something you need, or tag me in the comments, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. We started out with a
Yeah.
new format on our return here after a
Mhm.
month-long hiatus, which I kind of felt like it was too long. It was just kind of weird because we've never really taken a hiatus like that before. Never.
No, no, yeah,
A month-long hiatus. I kind of appreciated the time off a little bit, but it was just
yeah.
weird, you know?
I missed you. I'm not gonna lie, I missed you.
Hey, Emery, I missed you too. I missed you too. I know you got a lot going on, and
Hey,
besides
man.
trying to raise
Appreciate it.
preteens.
Right? I have my eldest's birthday's in 2 days, so we've been
Hey,
preparing for
there
that.
you
My
go.
my daughter just had a birthday, so it's been a school's almost finished. Thank you. I'm happy about that. So it's just been, cleansings and readings and investigations. That's what we've been at.
Well, yeah, it's been like that as well. I was kind of thinking, hopefully, and we were talking with our guests before coming on air. That this format, they're kind of the guinea pig for this format, so we hope everyone likes it because
Right.
what I think we're going to do going forward, and we talked about it before we went off air and went on hiatus, is that
Mhm.
we're going to bring on teams about every other week. We're going to bring on a new
Absolutely.
team, active teams, people who are investigating, people who are running tours, even that because
Mhm.
teams run tours, mine do,
Yeah.
and just kind of giving an idea for people to kind of share best practices, methodologies, hear experiences. I love hearing about people's ghost stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of where we were going with it. And the team we picked on for tonight is the team out of Ontario, your homeland there, and Spirit Hunters Ontario is the team of ladies, and I think they have one gentleman. God bless him. That kind of thing, and because mine's kind of more of a mixed mosh of women, men, so it's a good
Hmm.
thing. But this guy, it's got to be he's by himself with these ladies.
Right.
Yeah, he better act right. That's all I know. He'd be in a lot of
So
trouble.
so right now we're an all lady team. Not on purpose. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. Um, we're not doing it on purpose, but it's just we've had men on the team in the past and they don't seem to last. So, right now it's all females, but we got a good family going. And the ladies we hosted last night, there was two gentlemen on it, but mostly females. So it was kind of neat because the dynamic shifts, and I think it's really good to have men on the team sometimes. It's a good balance. They balance each other out. So I don't knock that at all.
No, I think it's good to have a mix. Yeah, I mean, there are teams that are all guys, and I think their ideal of why they're all guys is entirely a testosterone thing. But I prefer to have a mix of men and women. Women give different evidence. I've seen it happen time and time again. Men give different evidence than women time and time again. And I like being able to pair up a man and a woman, a man and a woman, man and a woman, have them go through a building and see what they get out of it. I always found that very interesting. Teams, to me, I run 3 in 25 years. I've run 3 of them. And, you can have too many and you can have too little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there are some locations that are so large that you really need to have 4, 5, 6 people to be able to operate in that arena well enough to be able to make something happen. But then there are some you can barely get 2 people in the place, and then you got to consider, are you willing to do residential investigations? Or are you just wanting to do commercial? And I've got 2 lined up now that are commercial that are happening on the 17th and 24th of this month. They're jails. I like jails. I like investigating jails.
Again, I think jails is something suited. I think the women going into jails, I think that would kind of cause a rift. You know what I mean? I think it would.
Yeah. The one jail is going to be, again, 3 couples. 3 men, 3 women on the 24th. Going into the jail on the 17th, a different jail, 2 men, 2 women.
Right? How cool is that?
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll have a couple down on the first floor, we'll have a couple on the third floor, we'll share the second. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be very interesting. That's why I like this, because I like hearing other teams. So I think what I'd like to do is let you read through what we presented for them as a sneak peek. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are dealing with the team, the ladies of the Spirit Hunters Ontario. Spirit Hunters Ontario is a small team of dedicated paranormal investigators serving the regions of Simcoe, Norfolk County, and neighboring counties of Southern Ontario. Prior to the team's formation in 2022, each member collected years of experience tracking down ghosts, communicating with spirits, and researching unexplained events. Thanks to this accumulated knowledge base, Spirit Hunters Ontario incorporates a wide range of investigation techniques, from high-tech methods of gathering evidence to century-old practices of contacting spirits. The team is also experienced at exploring a variety of location types, including museums, businesses, private homes, and even outdoors. If you need help understanding your own paranormal experiences, please contact Spirit Hunters Ontario through their website, email, or social media. All services are free of charge always. How cool is that?
That's cool. Now I'm going to bring them in one at a time. You ready?
Bring them in, baby. Let's bring them in.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh,
all 3.
Oh, look at that. So what I'm going to do first is introduce.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to introduce Judy first. I kind of made her officially the contact social person, I guess, for the night. So she's going to go ahead and kind of introduce the other ladies that are here, and then we'll go through by one and pick on y'all.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Sounds like fun.
Going to be a lot of fun.
All right, go ahead, Judy. Let's have it.
A little bit about me.
Yeah,
just a little bit. We'll try and keep it brief. I'm Judy. I was on a couple of other paranormal teams before I started my own, and it just didn't work out. We'll just leave it at that. And I wanted to join another team. I didn't want to actually start my own because I knew how much work it was going to be. Yeah. And there wasn't anybody around here. So I thought, you know what, let's do it. So I started my own team, and my daughter was my first one. Me and my daughter do this together. And then we brought in Deb. And then we brought in our guy, Jamie, who's not here tonight. He's probably working. And then the last one that we added last fall would be Jennifer. And it's been going really good. We started just last year, so we've been going for like a year and 3 months, something like that. So it's doing really well. I'm actually surprised how good it's going.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, and I understand it because I've been through it myself too with other teams. But let's go ahead, Jen. Talk to us about you, what you do, what you got going on with the team.
All right. Hi, I'm Jen. I'm actually non-binary, so I don't identify as a woman or a man. I'm kind of the in-between. So I've got a different perspective on some of the things that you're talking about before, but that's really neat. I was with a group prior to joining Spirit Hunters Ontario. Just a clash of personalities, I think. Didn't quite work out, but I really appreciated the team. I loved doing investigations. And through that group, I met up with Glenn Lakecock from Canadian Paranormal Investigations. They're up in Georgina. And he was he knew Judy and just kind of made the introductions. And it's been really great. Behind the scenes, I run the website and the Instagram page.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're busy. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I try.
All right, Debbie, tell us a little bit about you.
I met Judy through her daughter, Carrie. I was working at a vet clinic with Carrie a couple of years ago, and she had this book on Ontario hauntings and ghosts. And I'm like, no way, are you into that? And she's like, yeah. So we started talking. And then next thing I know, Judy and Carrie and I are out investigating a cemetery. And it just kind of went from there. And I'm the medium, so I can go into places, especially like sometimes I can pick up attachments to furniture and stuff like that and say, put a microphone here or put something there, things like that. And in the past, I have another medium friend, and her and I have gone in and helped people with their problems, like cleansing their houses of spirits and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, that's a hard job. For people who aren't psychic mediums, for example, we've had to explain to people, when you do a reading of a building or a person or a thing or whatever, you're kind of giving a little bit of yourself away.
It takes a lot out of you, and it's exhausting. Yeah. It can be really exhausting.
People just don't understand, because we do tours, and we've managed a lot of tours, and we're getting another location depending upon what happens with this new job thing for me. But if we're still staying here, we're going to have a public venue that is absolutely off the chart to be able to do public events with, and that'll wipe you out as the psychic medium. Completely wear you down, and you'll wake up in the morning feeling like you get hit with a baseball bat.
Well, you're being bombarded by different people's energies, and it's really hard to wall yourself off.
Yeah. To me, it's just a thing that it's, for some reason, I find people having a hard time understanding it. And that's a challenge, because, until I go there and freak you out with a reading about crap you thought I had no idea about you that I know, now you understand. Now you understand what I'm telling you. When you sap from me, you're an energy vampire. When you sap from me, I lose a bit of me. It's worth it if I can help get you closure. That's the job of the psychic medium, is to get closure for people, help people out, right? But it's kind of one of those things where, to kind of talk a little bit with Jen about your point about being non-binary, that the difference is, what's funny is the chemical makeup of the person for some reason, not what they call themselves, what they think they are. I've seen other folks that have had the same situation, and because of their physical makeup and the chemistry going on with the brain, for some reason, male and female have different opportunities. It's weird. It's weird. The physiology of people is makes up sometimes what you get. So no matter what you are, what do you consider yourself to be, I've noticed that I have friends also that are non-binary, that they notice the difference in the evidence gathering between them and there's some biological male counterpart. It's weird. Yeah. But if we ever get a chance to know everything we need to know about the paranormal, right now we have enough to fill a temple.
Oh, right? Yeah, definitely.
We'll never know it all. I'd love to, but we don't. So folks, let me kind of just bring it into speed a little bit with people watching. So I've seen that you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are doing investigations, right?
Yes.
Commercial investigations. You're also doing residential.
There's been a few.
Yes, we have done some.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I've seen that you all are doing tours,
Yes.
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite way to go? What's your favorite opportunity? We'll take
I've been enjoying the tours. They're a blast.
They
Yeah.
are. They're a lot of fun.
They are so much
Debbie, to
fun.
you prefer the tours, right?
Well, I do love the investigations. I actually I love all of it. It's all because it's every time it's something different. It's never the same thing.
Right.
So it's really hard to kind of compare. But I do have a blast with the tours because I feel like we're educating people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and speaking with like-minded people who are open-minded to it as well. So I really enjoyed that.
Okay. And Judy, what about for you?
I'm kind of the same way. I love doing the investigations. I love being out there. I love doing the public hunt as well. We do ghost walks in Octobers with this Cottonwood Mansion Museum. We investigated them June of 2022, and it went from there. They asked us if we wanted to do some ghost walks in October. We'd never done them before, so I kind of scrambled around trying to learn from others who have done them.
Yeah.
And just kind of gathered information that way. And we did it, and it went really well. And people wanted more. That was their feedback. They wanted to be there longer and more often. So this year we're trying 3 times throughout the year. April, July, and December, we're doing public paranormal investigations.
There you go.
Yeah, they come in for a couple hours each group, and we did it in April, the first one. That was phenomenal. It was like the spirits in the mansion just came alive, and they just loved having everybody there. Like Deb said, everybody's in a good mood. They're receptive. Yeah. They're open to it. They're interested in it, and it was fantastic.
Well, I promise I have a method behind the madness for asking this question. Jen, what about you?
Yeah, I really enjoy our public events as well, but I really, really enjoy when it's just us as a team. We pick up on things so much differently than when there's all kind of the psychic noise of the public with us, right? It's much quieter. Yeah. We can hone in on where something is happening, and just our team meshes so well that it's easy just to like look over and not even say anything and be like, oh, you saw that, or we heard that. And everybody just like gives the same look. And so it's a really fun group to be with.
Yeah. And that's the key. And the reason why I asked that question is you'll notice at some point that the chemistry and the energy from the people on the public tours can either kill your investigation or they can enhance it. Yeah. And I've noticed that now when you all are together, that there's already an energy mesh, which is great. But there are times when you either have been on other teams or you've been, just hanging out with friends, that an investigation could again go bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It could just be, for lack of a better expression, it could just die. Yeah. And you have flat evidence and the night sucks. And that's usually, from my experience, that's because of the energy from the people around you. Because I have seen some investigations with people that came in as a team that were horrible. Yeah. Absolutely horrible. But I just was kind of curious about you, Phil, because my team loves to do the events as well. And at some point, we're going to bring mine on. At some point, we're going to bring Katie's on. But my team likes to do the public events as well. They love educating the public. They love and forgive me for my language, but they like the oh shit moments too. When we do a human pendulum, I've had literally people cry. I literally had people pulled up off their feet and thrown forward for an answer of yes. And it's really funny when they get it. Now I've had some that walk up to me in the end of the tour and they go, "I'm done. No thanks. You're crazy. I'm not doing this ever again." And then I'll have some little look at me and go, "So what do I do to get started?" It's either fight or flight. Either you're going to get involved or you're not. And now I've had a lot of people in the past that'll come to me and say, "Hey, what should I do to get started?" Go on a good tour with a good team. See how that works first. You know what I mean? Katie, what do you think about this? I kind of left you out there in the dark. I've been rambling. Forgive me. But Katie, what do you think?
I mean, I think that in terms of public or private investigations, where I'm located, there's not a lot of public haunts. It's really more of a private thing.
Oh,
So
wow.
a lot of our investigations are private residences. We have a couple local haunts that we go to. As I said, we had hosted a team yesterday at 2 different locations. But really, it's not like Southern Ontario. There are lots of haunted locations, but they're not open public investigation haunts. There was a team from close to Pickering, Kingston, Belleville area, Southern Ontario, or not Southern, but farther south than us, let's put it that way, who would come up and did some stuff in Pembroke. But really, there's not a lot going on. We have to travel.
Yeah, and you said that before as well. I remember you saying that. But would you rather host a team and do a tour, or would you rather?
You know what? Something like Buck Hill, like we did last night, it was very exciting. We've been there so many times that the ghosts are excited to see us again. They know us, they're calling us by name, but it's also really cool because I feel like sometimes the ghosts amp up their energy to give people a show. And so when we got there yesterday, especially at Buck Hill, they were coming through the spirit box, and I didn't even get my spirit box out. I let the other team, I said, listen, we brought you here, but we want you to have the full experience. You do what you want to do. We're here to assist, but you know your stuff, go ahead. And I sat back, and they were doing some EVP sessions and spirit box sessions, and they were like, hey, Katie, coming through. So it was kind of neat because, I was like, I miss you too, guys, for them to come through and talk about it. So it's exciting and exhilarating for people to see what we witness all the time and them becoming excited. And quite frankly, I think sometimes the spirits love that too. But, 99% of our investigations are, people who need assistance, who are afraid in their homes, afraid in their businesses, ask us to come in. I usually give them an option. I can come in and cleanse, or if you're curious as to know what is happening or who is in your home, do you want us to do an investigation? And oftentimes people say, yeah, please. We want to find out who it is, why they're here. And it's at that point that, we find out it's Uncle Henry or Aunt Joanna, and then they're not so afraid anymore.
Yeah. I mean, to me, there are sometimes I've mentored teams. I used to have a band. Yeah, I play guitar. No, I had a band and groups, and I had a team in in Alabama. I had 2 in the United States, of course. 1 in Alabama, 1 in North Carolina, 2 in Tennessee, 1 in Georgia, and we were called the Paranormal Mafia. And it was only because we were like a family. We knew how each other operated. And, if I had a call for help for somebody in Alabama, that team went, and et cetera, down the line. Knoxville area, Tennessee, that team went. But it's hard to find people that fit for a group. Now, again, you all seem to get along really, really well, but I've seen catfight with groups before. I've seen things kind of go a little ugly before with teams and ended poorly, unfortunately. But as usual with our viewership, they've already come out as a question. Herbie says, what do you consider more haunted, hospitals or prisons? Ladies and gentlemen, folks, what do we think?
Definitely prisons would be more negative, angry energy. But hospitals, it depends on the hospital, like a brand new, nice hospital, how many people have passed in it. I guess hospitals would be fairly busy places, like an airport.
I think it also depends. I think it also depends on the type of entity you're dealing with. Hospitals, you're getting somebody who perhaps doesn't know they've died, or it was confused at death with Alzheimer's, or it was a shocking death and they were, on the table, stillborns, those types of things. But in terms of prisons, you're getting that low end vibration of people that, were very resentful. They had to spend the rest of their life in that location, or they were murdered, or they were, so as you said before, sometimes, it's really about the energy and what you're dealing with. They're both active, but you're going to get a happy and you may be getting an angry spirit at the same time.
Well, Jen, what do you think? What's your thought?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. That's my mom. Actually, she was a nurse, and that's one of my introductions to what ghosts were. Was she would come home and tell us all these stories. She worked in palliative care, so it was people that were dying. So she would talk to them, comfort them, and sometimes she saw them after they had died. And but there was a lot of activity, but it was peaceful. I've done some tours like in jails, and there's a lot of activity, and it is not a pleasant activity. It's, I think people they would say that prisons are more haunted just because it is a more violent kind of energy that you would encounter. So
the negative energy you think sticks a little bit better, huh?
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents there. Judy?
I think it depends also about the type of hospital, right? So was it a mental hospital? Was it a psychiatric ward? Was it a children's hospital? Was it an end of care hospice, an old age home? It's even maximum security prison, minimum security prison, jail versus, I think you really got to subcategorize that. And again, you're always going to get something that's angry or malevolent. But I mean, you could even break it down to train stations and airplane terminals, malls. There's a lot of pissed off people there too, right? So it really, it's kind of how the energy flows.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Herbie, I hope that answered your question. And Jane says, where is Cottonwood?
Cottonwood Mansion,
Ontario.
Cottonwood Mansion Museum. We're down in southwestern Ontario. It's in a place called Selkirk, 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 Ontario.
Okay. Now, Tara says, do you find from working together in this field, your communications with each other is psychic? Anyone can step up first. Whatever you're excluded.
Thinking. Not me so much. I'm not
walking right now.
talented that way. That's more these two.
Yeah. I think I kind of know where she was going with it. I mean, you get to hang out with someone and spend a lot of time with them. Eventually, you learn a pattern. I think it's really what it comes down to.
True.
You get more of a pattern with the group of people you work with. Hey, I'm going to send you over there. And, one of my people look at me and go, I knew you were going to send me there, Also, too, I want to let Warren, we're in the middle of a severe thunderstorm. So there may be a chance our plug gets pulled. And if that happens, folks, we'll set this up again. Hopefully it doesn't. But I'm hearing some nasty rumblings and looking at the back porch, plants are blown over and flying across the porch. So, so for me, I would prefer jails too. I'm a former police officer, so that helps. But I'm going to one with the team on the 17th of this month that it was a jail inside of a jail. Brick building with cages inside the building. They were not, attached to the brick wall. They were literally a cage inside the building. And they actually have I don't know if anybody's ever watched Gladiator, the movie Gladiator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was this wheeled cart cage that they took the prisoners or servants in. They actually have that on the property. That they actually were using it for public display of people who are arrested. Yeah, crazy. This is going to be knock down, drag out nuts. I've been to a lot of hospitals, and I get a lot of. Personally, I got a lot of. I wasn't aware I was dead. Yeah. They went like that. That's a symbol for me that a person's passed quick is when they go like that. They may or may not know. I've had people that just really got emotional verbally in their voice and their echo because they didn't realize they were dead. So I would, just for my own sake, I'd probably rather do a jail or a prison so I don't have to really deal with that because that's rough. That's rough. All right. Let me see if we can find our next question. We got a lot of questions. Mario says, attending one of your tours at Cottonwood is a must-do on my list.
Hi, Mario.
Hi, Mario.
Good old Mario, right?
Mario helps us from time to time.
All right. So Herbie said, "Sorry if you've answered us, but how long have you all been together as a team since 2022? Correct."
February
Yes.
2022. So it's only a
Yeah,
little
okay,
over a
Jenny.
year. Yeah, we're new.
So
All right.
let's let me dial it back a little bit. What were your first experiences? Did you guys have experiences as kids, or what was your first profound experience that
yeah.
made you say, "Listen, I want to investigate this more. I want to find out more."
Oh, I was 8 when I first saw my first shadow figure, and I did not want to find out more. I dove under the covers and pulled them up and just snuggled up and finally fell asleep after a long time, all afraid. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
And then after that, in your adulthood,
after that,
okay,
I was in
what made you?
I was in my 20s before things just started to happen, even though I didn't want it to. It just started to happen as the years went on. And then it's like, okay, there's something to this. And the more I began to open up and think there was something to it, the more that would happen. And then
Right.
that more that would happen from that. And yeah, so it's just kind of like a snowball.
Okay, and what about you, Debbie?
My mom was a medium, so she could
It's genetic.
meet somebody and bring up things about their past and stuff like that. And I never really thought that much about it. But I remember vividly as being a kid, about 6 or 7, my younger sister and I had bunk beds, and I had the top bunk, of course, because we fought about that, and I won. And
Well, you
I
want
remember waking up in the middle of the night and seeing this face just standing there looking at me, like right beside the bed. And I can still picture this woman's face. And I thought I must be dreaming. So I closed my eyes and opened them again, and she was still standing there. And
Wow.
finally she kind of faded away, but that scared the Jesus out of me. And then I went, oh crap, I can do it now too. And then we've always lived in old houses where you hear voices, you see things happen. And I never really wanted to out myself about this, because people generally would think I was nuts anyway, especially as a teenager. You don't want to tell kids in high school that you know things about them that you really shouldn't know, and you have no way of telling them how you know it, and becoming a tart. So, so that kind of sucked. But then as I got older, I kind of came to terms with it and just decided to start researching more and doing more and reading books.
Jen, what about you?
Probably the first time that I saw a ghost I was probably about 5. I was just down playing in the basement. I used to play in the basement without the lights on, just it didn't bother me. And then there was one time I was down there, and there was a little boy that popped up. Like, looking back now, he just probably wanted to play, but it scared the crap out of me. So I booked it upstairs, and I didn't go down there and play in the dark anymore. And then after that, my mom would tell me some stories. And she confirmed to me that she had seen this boy in the basement too. We moved shortly after that, so I never saw him again. But she said, oh yeah, I saw him. And just ever since that really piqued my curiosity. And I've always been like a big reader. So I picked up every book that I could that had ghost stories, things about cryptozoology, UFOs, anything that was weird. I was just the weird kid in so many ways. It was okay.
We all?
Yeah.
Good ways.
Yeah, good ways.
Yeah, good ways. So this guy, Glenn Laycock, says the good thing about spirit hunters is that they always just trying new techniques to investigate.
Hey, Glenn.
Hello, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn.
Mario, so what among your investigations thus far, what experience would you all say stands out to you the most, be it paranormal or earthly? He's kind of stealing my thunder there, but okay.
It's Mario.
He's a good guy. He's a great viewer. Appreciate him.
Yes, he's a good guy.
He's loyal as all get out. He's here every week. Thank you, Mario. I have to say, I just got to say, we got some of the most loyal viewers. I'm telling you, we have a family. They come out and they're supportive as hell. Like we got the best fans in the world. Sorry, but we do.
We do. Nobody's going to beat us.
Right.
So, yeah, to kind of capitalize on that question a little bit, and I'm going to kind of spin it around because I want to hear this one. And I want to hear it individual. We'll start with Jen. Jen,
Oh, geez.
tell me about your oh shit moment.
Okay, this one is still, I can't quite figure it out. I'm fairly convinced it was paranormal because I can't figure out a way that it would have been something earthly. It was with a previous team I was with. We were at a private home. The night wasn't really that active. We didn't capture that much information or that much evidence, I should say. But when we were leaving, we were packing up. The husband and wife were upstairs at the door. We could see them while we were packing up, and we heard this banging from a basement window. It was so loud, we thought someone was down there and that the glass was going to shatter. We came back up to the house. There was no one in the basement, but it was so loud we heard it outside at the curb while we were packing our gear. And we were down there and didn't really feel too much while we were in the house, but obviously something there wanted us to come back. So that was the weirdest still that I'm like, that was so strange.
Yeah, she handled that with a little less vulgarity than I did. But I'm going to go forward anyway. Debbie, tell us about your oh my goodness moment.
Got a few of those.
Yeah, don't
One
worry.
of the ones, when I was a teenager, we lived in Turkey Point. I lived with my sister and brother-in-law because my parents had passed away. And we were caretakers at this duck hunting lodge called the Turkey Point Company. And the house itself was huge. It had 13 bedrooms, and we had half of it. So during the winter, after duck hunting season, they would shut the power off. The house was in kind of a U formation, and our kitchen window, we could look across to the kitchen window from the other part of the house. And they shut the power off in the winter over there to save hydro and shut the water down and everything. I was there washing dishes one night, and the kitchen light turns on over there. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, I grabbed the dog, and then we go to check the breakers. The breaker was off. There was no way this light should have been on. And weird stuff like that happened in that house all the time.
Wow.
Wow.
Ugh.
All right, Judy,
We used to hear someone call our names all the time, even when there was
crazy
nobody
stuff.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? What do you think it was? Do you think it was a portal? Do you think it was, what do you think it was? Do you think humanoid, spirit,
It was a
dimensional?
woman. There was a lady there. There was a lady there. I had kind of seen her out of the peripheral of my eyes. And the place was built in 1882.
Ooh.
And it was originally deeded from the crown. So it was all crown land, right? And it's so remote back in the swamp there. It's like something out of a movie. And apparently when we became the caretakers there, the last people lasted a year with this and quit. And nobody told us that that's why people kept quitting. So we're like, yeah, sure, free rent. Let's go. Let's do this, Being stupid and crazy and young. And
nothing's ever free. Right?
no,
Nothing's ever free.
I never felt it was malevolent there. Like whoever she wasn't malevolent. She was just trying to get our attention. And yeah, it was so weird.
All right, Judy, what's yours? You're up. What's your story?
My story, good. Or Judy, you let's hear you, Judy.
Okay, I'll go. My weirdest one was before I was doing this, and to this day I don't know what it was that I saw. I'm out with my dog. I'm walking back towards the house. We're out renting a big house on a farm. I'm walking down the sand laneway. My dog Duke ran up. He's up at the house. I look up and there's this. I don't normally tell people this story. It's so bizarre.
Now you're just telling thousands.
I know. It's a different one. But there's this big, the best way to describe it is like a big undulating
Blob,
amoeba. Yeah. Like a big glob.
black mass.
Yeah, but I could see through it and it had like sparkle things in it. It was about floating 2-3 feet off the ground, and I'm walking towards the house slowly now because I'm looking at this thing coming towards me. And I stopped, and it was still coming, and it stopped. It's like it noticed that I could see it. We just stood there, like looking at each other, and I just started to walk towards the house, and I'm like looking, and this thing is going, and I kept going, and I turned around and looked. Did I just see what I just saw? And there it was going down the laneway. I have no idea what it was. It wasn't scary. It wasn't anything like that. Now I would have tried to talk to it.
Yeah.
Then I was just kind of like,
now you want to say, see your translucent bud down. I got questions.
yes, you can see it had like sparkles and things. It was so weird.
Yeah, that's funny.
I have a theory about that. I wonder if you were each like it, you suddenly appeared in its dimension just as it appeared in yours, and that's why it's you're both looking at each other going, "What the hell?" You know?
Can I
Yeah.
touch it?
Wonder.
We both say, "Can I touch it?"
We just don't know, do we? We don't know if we're appearing in their dimension or
I didn't
they're
want to touch
appearing in
it.
ours.
We're appearing in ours, yeah.
Yeah.
It was bizarre, just bizarre.
Yeah, it happens too. Katie, what's your story?
Oh my gosh, I have so many.
I know we talked about a lot of them.
Well, demonic. I think the most uncomfortable cases I've ever dealt with are demonic, and true to the word demonic. We're not talking about everything that's malevolent that thinks it's a demon. I'm talking about. I mean, I think that the demonized, talk in today's ghost world is really over publicized. I think there's too many demonic scenarios, but I can honestly say for myself, the few that I have had, that was very uncomfortable. Watching people talk in tongues, watching things contort the way they shouldn't. I watched a Bible basically flick its pages like out of a movie. I've seen like stuff like that. Just it affected barn animals in a house, in a farm, and the animals were slaughtered in the barn. It affected it has affected on on different levels. I have a colleague that I used to work on Paranormal Survivor that I worked with. She was another psychic medium, and she was a very well-known, well-respected, world-renowned psychic medium. And I'm a firm believer that she ended up dying because of a demonic case she was working on. And within a week, her body shut down and she died down in Toronto. So, it's scary. Those are the worst. Those are the ones that I'm like, I don't know if I want to get into that.
I tell you that for me, originally before October of last year, it was when I was a police officer. It entered into a house that was supposedly empty, and my partner and I went in, guns drawn, because people were complaining about lights and people walking in front of windows, and the house was supposed to be abandoned. I went from that being my oh my goodness moment to when we were filming or getting filmed on our documentary, and my wife got jumped. She got partially possessed by a low-level demon on the third floor of this building. And I wasn't sure, for the first time in my entire career, I wasn't sure if I could do enough to help it. But I literally had to verbally rip this thing out of her to separate her from it. It's on the video. I won't watch it because of how crazy it is. But that is definitely my biggest oh my God moment. I watched my wife's face contort. I watched her hair go up in the air. I watched her eyes turn black. I mean, woo! And I was right in front of that, and I knew the only thing that kept me going was that I knew my wife was in there. But that for me has become my new number one. And everyone's going to have that scar, as I call it. And, so that's kind of where that goes for me. But crazy. Great stories, ladies. Let me see. We got a couple here. And as a kid or adult, have you ever talked to someone and had them vanish before your eyes? Anybody want to step up on that one?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
I'll take that one. That happened to me. It's a short story. I was at a funeral home going to one of my friends. Their dad had passed away. My sister and I were standing in line to pay our respects. Didn't think much of it. I was coming up. There was a chair, and I saw a woman sitting there, an older lady. She had a cane, and I almost tripped on this cane. And I turned to tell her, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then she wasn't there. She hadn't gotten up. There was nowhere else she could have gone. So she was there, and then she was gone in just a split second. And my sister was standing right beside me and did not see her at all. So that was kind of weird.
There,
Yeah.
there was a video that went viral online a couple weeks ago, and it was of I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was of a security guard that had this full-on conversation with
Oh, I've seen that.
somebody
Yeah.
that was not there. Now, I mean, the validity of it, who knows? But it was pretty compelling in the sense that the guy had no idea, and he's radioing back, and the woman's saying, like, "Who are you talking to?" And he's like, "Well, they want directions, or they want this." Like, he was adamant. Yeah, I'm talking to somebody. Is that
I've seen the video.
extraterrestrial? Is that spirit? Is that interdimensional? Is that time travel? Who knows?
Well, Nadine has a question for Debbie. Do you feel spirits with you right now, or is it something you turn off and on? Go ahead. You can't. I already know the answer to that.
There are always spirits with you, but yeah, sometimes I just have to not, because you can't. It's just exhausting to listen to them all the time. So you have to.
We
tune
had
them out.
instances here on this show where we've had viewers literally catch EVPs going on through the show.
Wow.
And sometimes it was at my place, sometimes it was at Katie's place, but it was interesting. They would send me messages going at 1:32 and 20 seconds, at 7. I mean, it went on and on and on. So, I thought it was extremely interesting. Not really bothersome so much because it makes sense.
No.
You're dealing with so much energy at one time going through the energy fortified system. So that kind of made a lot of weird sense. Okay. Does anyone feel, according to Herbie asks, does anyone feel that you are investigators because of family or because you developed an interest or because you lived in a haunted house?
All
What made
three.
you decide to become an investigator? All of the above.
All of that.
All of the
Yeah.
above. Yeah.
Yeah. I find that to be a pretty obvious answer to some things. I think you get to a point where you have so many questions and you just want the answers. It's time. That's the way I look at it. Anthony says, how has technology helped psychics and mediums show spirit or real? Yeah, there's a lot of thought about that. I mean, you've got a lot of apps now, and you've got a lot of cameras. You've got a lot of things that phone apps that'll do SLS that I've been able to prove are accurate. You got those kind of things going. I think it's technology has kicked in pretty well for psychic mediums to be able to fortify what they say. I think there's a lot of stuff out there now. What do you all think?
Yeah, it does, like a lot of the technology, like EVPs and cameras and that, does validate things for sure. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all become so easy to do, right?
Yeah.
Now it is. Before we had to rely on faith that the person you were dealing with and working with wasn't an idiot stick or wasn't lying through their teeth or something like that. Yeah. We just have a lot more now to be able to kind of get better certification or some better evidence grab on it anyway to be able to kind of confirm what we're all getting.
Well, I just have one little thing to add to that too is our access to information is so much greater now so that we can go and validate, Debbie, she might pick up on a name and now we can pour through records and find, oh yes, this person did live here. That was their age. So there's concrete evidence that can confirm our findings as well.
Exactly. And I think it's good to always correlate different pieces of equipment. Never stick with one. I mean, if you're getting a hit off of one, like last night, for example, we had the cat balls. They were lighting up at the same time that we were getting hits on the millimeter. At the same time we were getting EVPs. At the same time the psychics are getting downloads. Like that, that's kind of hard to fake or to, it's pretty compelling. And I think, correlating all of those different things and bringing them, and it's validating that that's in fact happening. That's really what we're doing as investigators. We're gathering as much compelling evidence as possible to kind of show what we have to prove, right, that it is real.
Yeah. And I'm not a real big proponent for some of the phone apps. I've got 2 that I use and 2 that I've been able, only because I have been able to confirm what it's saying or what it's doing or what it's showing me. That's the only reason why I even use those 2, because I come to find out that dropping $600, $700, $800 on a piece of equipment, I work too hard for the money. You know what I'm saying? I work way too hard for the money. Chris had a question. Do you have any team dream locations you want to investigate?
I don't. I'm happy to go wherever we end up going,
There you go.
but
Jen?
there's nothing.
No, yeah, like I don't want to get too caught up in wanting to go to one place for any reason. Just wherever it takes us, right?
There you go.
So
Okay. Jen, what about you?
The only not with our team because this would be too expensive, but the Paris catacombs, that would be fantastic to go see, I think.
That would.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dream is to go to Ireland, to Edinburgh, in the tunnels. And
Oh, the Edinburgh vaults, yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool. I don't. My team kind of likes. Well, my team. I kind of like going into places that really haven't been tackled really well or haven't been tackled at all. I prefer the road less traveled because that's
I like to do
here in
that
the
too.
States, they got a place here. It's called Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, right? World renowned. Been on so many TV shows. How do you not know that place is active?
Yeah.
Right. So for me, with this opportunity we have on the 17th to go to this jail, that's not been very well hit at all. I can't wait to go there. But I would rather go to a little place 3.5 hour drive away than to go to a place where you got to drop $200 a person to get in. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yes.
Free or
Absolutely.
cheap? I'm a cheap guy. I rub 2 pennies together, come up with a half of one when I'm done because the shavings are still there. So I mean, I don't like. To me, it's kind of like it's holding teams ransom. There's a place out here that charges $1,500 for no more than 10 people for 7 hours. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really active. Well, no kidding. Crap. Go to my bathroom at night. I got dead people walk around my house all the time.
Yeah.
You can take the meeting keys there. Just don't bring a thermal camera. Anyway, yeah. Nobody got that joke. Okay.
Is there any places that you would not return to or you would not investigate? Would you stay away from?
Yes. Any place for me, any place that had known demonic activity. I want no part.
Agree. I'm not going to take my team anywhere near anything like that.
No.
It's not worth it.
No.
There is
Or where there was like a huge amount of suffering. Because
if I could release some of the entities that are there, if I could cross them over, if I could clear them as part of the opportunity, yeah. Because I've gotten snapped on because I've done that before at a location and they weren't really thrilled I did it, but I moved a little girl over who was repeatedly getting raped.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I didn't care how they felt about that.
Right.
That's how I was going home.
Yep.
So, all right. So we got a bunch. Guys, we failed to say hello to a ton of you. Sorry about that.
Hey guys. What I think too, certain places that have been known to kind of attack investigators or attack. I don't know if that's something that I would really want to deal with either.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a location that you went to that you wouldn't go back to?
Ladies?
I went to it was on one of the episodes of Ghost Adventures. I'm sure some other teams went there too. It's called the Castillo de St. Marco in St. Augustine, Florida.
Yeah.
And in the actual Castillo, I was fine. I could feel some energy, but it didn't bother me. But walking around in the town after, my sister was with me that time too, and she said my entire personality changed. Like I was just really aggressive, which is not my personality. And I said, we have to get out of here. And we left. And as soon as we were outside of the city limits, I was fine again. But so I would not choose to go back there.
Now, is that the one that's in St. Augustine, Florida?
Yes. Yeah.
Castillo de San Marco. That's one I want to go to.
Yeah.
So that ought to be interesting. That's
it's really neat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Nadine says, have you ever run into others who claim to be gifted and you know it not to be true. That's Pandora's box right there.
Yeah.
So we probably want to, we can just go yes or no. Yeah. Just by pure reasoning. I'm going to go ahead and say yes for everybody. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's, and I think I've run into a lot of people that only because of ignorance, which is nothing other than a lack of education. But I think there are people that are sensitive that think they're a psychic medium.
Yes.
And I run into people who are empathic and think they're a psychic medium. They're absolutely different, right? There's different strains of all of this for everybody. But I think you've got to really hone in on what you got going on and learn more about it, read more about it, exercise it as much as you can before you go putting a label on yourself. And then Katie and I have talked about this all the time. People have some kind of ability, don't know what it is. The first thing they want to do is go out and help people. No, you'll regret it. Trust me, you'll regret it. All right. Let's see if we can move on. Okay, so Mario says, when it comes to protections for the team, do you have your own right before entering and leaving the homes, or do you feel that it's only necessary in a case-on-case basis?
Oh boy. I kind of do a little. I got some like crystals and like tourmaline and quartz.
Well, if you watch the show, we've covered this gemstone.
Yes, yeah. I kind of do a mix of things. I do the thing like what Katie suggested, where you wipe your feet off on the grass when before you get in your vehicle and you leave, and you can have a shower and visualize it. The stuff washing off, and
yeah,
it works for me. I've not had any issues. So,
well, we've gotten to a point after the issue with my wife during that filming. And I used to be a minister. Not many people know that. I used to be a minister at one time. And I got to a point now where I make the team stand together for a group prayer before we go in for protection, and then one when we leave. And I've found since then, whether it be just a matter of convenience or coincidence, we haven't had any problems. So, and I think and for a lot of people, it isn't a matter of just being faithful to a higher power. It's a mental placement. Where are you at in your head? Are you prepared? Are you okay? Are you sure that you're going to be all right? Because I will ask that of my team before we get in. Is everybody good? Everybody solid? Everybody good? Because if you're not good, if you've had an argument with your significant other, if your job's in a toilet, if you got a thing that's going on, you probably don't need to be in it. And I literally have banned 2 people from a building because the energy was just getting to them too much. They found at the time they were going through, I found out through asking, I call it interviewing, hey, what's going on with you? Come to find out further to having issues emotionally and in life. So that made them the weaker link. So, and that's happened. I have banned them from the rest of the investigation. Bye-bye. Have a good time out in the car. You want to go home? Cool. Want to go to Waffle House? Cool. Whatever you eat, just not going back in the building. And that's just a matter of protection. I could be the bad guy and do that. But I do it just for the sheer protection of my team. And I do it for guests as well. If I feel like I had a lady as a guest that honestly is a friend of mine, and she came on the investigation and she got attacked by an entity in a building. It shoved her to the ground. All kinds of stuff. I brought her outside and I cleansed her and I said, you need to go home. Bye-bye. Because once you're a victim, once you're considered a target, it becomes relentless, I think. Personal experience, it makes you the target all the time. And I just don't want that to happen for anyone. So
that's something we should do, ladies, is sorry, Jen,
yes.
Do a, come up with like a prayer thing that we can do before and when we're done.
Yeah.
I think that's a great.
I always try to say we're entering the house or we're entering the investigation with good intentions for the greater good.
Yeah. I mean, you could ask the universe for protection.
Positive.
It doesn't have to be God. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it has to be God. I think it can be the universe because there are a lot of people that don't believe in God. So I don't want to force you into that. So there are times that I will do kind of a manipulation on the prayer of, we just would like the energy of the universe to be with us tonight, be there and protect us tonight, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I can do it without being preachy.
Yeah.
But next time I do it, if Katie ever gets down here to the U.S., I'm probably going to go ahead and do a full scale, exorcism on somebody just to have her watch it.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
I've done three. I've done three in the last 2 years.
Oh, boy.
So it's kind of
Right?
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you guys investigate. What is it? How does your team operate? Do you do you do an interview process? Is it the same day? Like, kind of take us into the day in the life of, your team.
I don't think there's really an interview process because we do more historic locations, buildings, museums. We're going to do a theater this fall. That's the first time we'll have done a theater. That'll be interesting. Apparently, there's some good spirits in there. Yeah.
Yeah, theaters are cool.
Yeah.
So do you guys do, I think what she's going to get to, what's your methodology? Like, do you, like with me, I bring the team together for a meal before we investigate together. And we kind of laugh and joke about what's coming up. And it's just kind of a little way for us to grab some kind of camaraderie and build up a good energy level before we go. That's kind of how we do it. We'll do a daytime walkthrough of the location, so that way for safety, Is that kind of what you guys do?
No,
Well, we actually do.
I want to be on your team. I want to come out with you.
No.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit, Judy. That's most of the time when we're going somewhere, we do meet. We all tend to show up a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
We joke around outside.
Yeah.
But I think because there's just the five of us, and because we just seem to click so well,
Right.
that it's just as soon as we're kind of there, and we're like, oh, hi, and just catch up for a few minutes, and then we're ready. Like, we're all pumped and ready to go.
Yeah, our deal is eat dinner together before we go in, have a little fun time, little conversation. Do the prayer before we go in, do the investigation, we come out, do the prayer for leaving the energy there, and then we go to a place called Waffle House.
Yeah, the Waffle House.
That is mandatory. There's so many of them here in the south of the U.S. that there is no problem running into one that's 24 hours. So it's kind of, if we miss out, we feel like we really missed out. It's part of the process, Richard. Well, yeah. Some places just don't have them, boys and girls. They just don't have them.
So ladies and gentlemen, do you get to the location, you're setting up your equipment, do you break off into little sections? Do you work in pairs? Do you work together? How do you guys kind of function as a team?
All of that. But what we've done the last couple of times is we went around as a team, as a group, all of us together. So that way, if we would hear anything on the second or third floor, we know it wasn't any of us. It cut way down on the noise pollution and that kind of. But it was nice to spend those 4 or 5 hours or whatever we were there together as a team. We were having a great time.
Yeah. Oftentimes we use two-way radios if we're setting up equipment. A lot of times, like I have a DVR system that we set static night vision cameras up. So we'll just keep the radios with us. And, if we break off or if we're, in a far, big location, we can kind of radio back and forth. Did you make that noise? Did you, we have a rule on the team that you're not allowed to whisper, because that can cross-contaminate evidence. So little things everybody knows, you're supposed to, don't whisper, speak. So there's those little things. So we know each other's kind of, every person on my team has their own dynamic and has their own play. I have a historian, I have an equipment tech, I have, so they all kind of get into their own groove and do their own thing. And then we come together and kind of start the investigation, whether it's a public location or a private residence. We still kind of do the same thing, but we work together. Very, very few do we separate. Sometimes I'll ask to have time in a room alone, or one of my investigators will kind of go off and do their own thing, trying to see what they're picking up. But for the most part, we all work together.
That's great. That's the way it should be, though, Euro. And you should be able to come together. I mean, maybe it's good too that you just come together, go and investigate, and you leave. I have a tendency to drag things out a little bit. It kind of gives me a chance to read my team, honestly, is what it is. Kind of gives me a chance to make sure they're okay. Because there's a lot of things going on in the world that suck. I kind of like more sure, I call it aces in your places. I'm not going to put you on point for something if I don't feel you're emotionally or mentally ready for that. So, and we'll talk about things like that too. So yeah, I'm kind of like the Papa Bear kind of person. Anthony says, question: when you've gone to a place that's haunted, do you feel spirit welcomes you as one of their own? Have you ever had that happen?
Not me.
I believe at Cottonwood it does.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Like,
yeah,
Cottonwood is very welcoming. That the mansion and the spirits there are very welcoming.
And one thing I will tell you on experience only, I say this, is that when you go back to the same place time and time and time again, I have had the wonderful experience of being told welcome home.
Yeah.
But it took a while. It took a while to get into that. First I got there. The second time I went in, I got welcome back. Went back in there again. We Missed You was another one I got from the same voice. The final one I got to was welcome home, because we did tours in that building every month. And I think that's what I find very, very interesting. It's hard for me to say you're into a research building if you're not actually researching it. If you're not in there going in, Cottonwood, for example, go in there often enough where you can kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together, right? You can kind of go, okay, so this happened, this is going on. It's hard to do that when you do a one and out.
Yeah.
I think there's more questions than answers when you do that. But
we're finding that with Cotton. It has a lot of layers, and the curator there is doing a lot more digging than the last person, like the manager, and she's finding a lot of things out that is correlating with the EVPs and all the stuff that we're getting that we didn't know about it, and they didn't know about it either. So
this question's curious. Herbie asks, this is a question for the team. Have you ever had a spiritual deja vu?
I don't know. You'd have to explain to me a little bit more what that is.
Right?
Spiritual deja vu.
That's a curveball for me. I don't even. Thank you, Herbie, for making my brain work now.
Well, maybe we could break down deja vu. So, in a psychic sense, deja vu is your higher level of consciousness, remembering what you've written for yourself, only you don't realize you've forgotten because we suffer from amnesia. So, it's that higher consciousness tapping into what's been written, but we just don't realize it. So, we have that. Have we been there before? Have we? It's a time shift, essentially, right? You're tapping into that timeline. I think maybe what Herbie's trying to ask is it more of a deja vu? Like, are you talking about tapping into a timeline where you're stepping back in time and you're witnessing it from, say, an 1888 perspective, or is it, you're feeling like you've been there before? That's kind of an open-ended question.
That's a real open-ended question. Good one, though. Good one. Anthony says, "Do you folks have any gods that watch or aid you in your spirit hunts?" Well, I think the only one that really is, I was going to say, I think the only one that might know that for a fact is probably Debbie.
Yes. Yeah. And protectives.
Yeah.
So
then Tara says, what equipment do you use? Are you all responsible for listening to EVPs?
I do the review.
Well, you do the review of the videos.
We use all the equipment.
All the usual goods, huh?
All the usual stuff, yeah.
I had a guy that was making custom equipment down here in the southern U.S., and he went out of business after a stroke. But his stuff I have and was able to get and obtain, a REM rope. You've seen the tripwire thing? Yep. This is actually an 8-foot section of REM rope that'll engage somebody across the staircase, doorway. $20. This guy was doing stuff so inexpensively. I've got a little mini, what is it? It's called now. It kind of escapes me. Tesla coil. It's a little Tesla coil that actually will go on the hook of your belt or on your belt with a belt clip. It actually is an EM pump as well. $16. So I was so upset when this guy got out of the business. Glad he was okay. But I was kind of sad about it. Mario said, what is the method for communication that has been among your favorites? What's your favorite ITC?
I love EVPs. EVPs, I love them, love them, love them.
Okay, Jen.
I like using the K2 meter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Old
I know
school.
it's
Okay.
unusual, but I like it. It's you can use it just for simple yes no
Mhm.
Yeah,
questions.
do you have the one that makes noise too?
No, I don't. I just have the lights.
Regular K2.
Yeah.
Remember when you used to have to use a quarter to hold the push button down? Are you even old enough to remember that, Jen? Anyway. Debbie, what's yours?
This is going to sound corny. We did a dowsing rod lesson with an older gentleman a couple weeks ago who dowses for graves, and I love them. I love them.
There are 3 ladies on my team. All 3 ladies are phenomenal with dowsing rods. I get simultaneous confirmation with 3 sets of dowsing rods in an investigation. I'm not going to beat that. There's no way you can beat that. And they are incredible. They can get them to engage. And then he said reset, and the spirit will actually, the entity will actually reset them for them. I mean, they work it. And no, so
at our last investigation, I was using the dowsing rods with Judy in the room, and we were getting some really amazing responses to her questions.
Well, and I agree with you to a point. I think a lot of that stuff's gone by the wayside or considered too olfactory, too primitive, so to speak. But when you have 2 people even sitting together in the room with a set of dowsing rods apiece, and they both get the same exact answer to every question you ask, and we do for fun is we run an EVP recorder at the same time. Yeah. So you not only do you get the dowsing rod answer, you get the EVP on confirmation of that, and you got 2 sets of dowsing rods giving you the same answer. So keep up, man. Keep working at dowsing rods. I think they're great. Mine the same thing with me, Judy, as EVPs. I'm an EVP monster. I love it. Katie, what do you like? What do you like most?
Katie went bye-bye. Oh, there she is.
What do I like? You know what? There's so many pieces. I love the spirit box. I made a portal box, so I like that. I like our millimeter because it's multifunctional. It's going up in temperature, changing milligauss. It's got a REM pod essentially stuck to it, so I like that because it's multifunctional. And good old fashioned, rods. I like using those. Yeah, because I mean, there's only a couple ways it can go, right? So, it can't be equipment malfunction. It can't be, it's kind of sometimes primitive is best.
Yeah. Yeah, I like them. I got a piece, besides the digital recorder, my favorite piece, as strange as it sounds, is I was able to get this guy to make custom equipment to make me a proximity sensor with a little clip. I used to call them a roach clip when we were, doing strange things as a kid. So you have that attached to wires, it's attached to a device. When you turn it on, it runs the energy through the device. Something touches the object you're engaging with. This thing, although they say it's only good for conductive material, no. I have put it on dolls, and you come anywhere near that doll and touch it, and the entire doll will set off that proximity sensor. I love hearing that thing go off because nothing can give it a false positive. You actually have to make contact with it to give a kind of a positive tone. So I like it. I'd like to find about another 3 or 4 more of those just to have them. Just to have them. All right. So let's move through the next question because we are rolling. Have you ever had a spiritual delusion? We were talking about it. Everyone, you guys are awesome. God bless you. Thank you, Sally. Have you got a preferred method of communication with spirit that you find more successful for your team, or do you usually find success? With your independent means. So, is there something that works better for y'all as a group?
We did the sensory deprivation that we did.
Oh, that one, yeah, that was really good.
Method.
Yeah, well, we actually did just like a complete sensory deprivation where we had someone in a room. They had the foam earplugs in, then noise canceling headphones on, then a blindfold, and sitting in the room. And we went and sat in another room and asked the spirit questions. And whoever was sitting
essentially a Gonfeld. I mean, you're getting real close to a Gonfil experiment there. That's crazy, yeah, but good stuff. I have found with my team that if I want decisive answers to questions or, answers that I just really can't get at the same level of energy, we'll do an Estes method. And that just seems to bring out the craziness. Just absolutely does. Katie, what do you think about that? What's your thoughts?
No, yeah. I mean, I think that, we recently started doing table tipping. We started kind of experimenting with table tipping, and we're really enjoying it. The team from Black Moon Paranormal came with us last night and we were doing it, and we learned some new things and different techniques. So, trying different experiments. I've done stuff with singing bowls. We've done stuff with the human pendulum. We've done stuff with dowsing rods. We've done stuff with, little pendulums. We've tried, just trying different new things is something that kind of keeps us going. I think that sometimes it becomes monotonous and you do the same thing every time. And I think the spirits get just as bored. They really do. It's like, oh God, here comes another recorder again. So, it's and I think we forget that some of the entities that we're dealing with don't know what our equipment is. We've had many scenarios where we've gone into locations and they're afraid of us and our equipment. One was holding kind of a ticker flashlight and they thought it was a gun. And so we had to explain to them, no, this is just for light. We don't know what you're seeing, but this is how we presented it. The different pieces of equipment are like a telephone. Do you know what a telephone is? Like those types of things. And kind of clarify how the equipment works. A lot of the equipment that lights up, once the entities are pretty excited about that, they're touching it and touching it and touching it. Like, with the REM pods and stuff like that, there's fluctuations. And, going back to the K2, that's a pretty basic piece of equipment, but you can get them to light it up on demand, and you can get it specific to say, can you light it up to orange? Can you light it up to red? Can you, yes or no answers. So some of these things are really great to experiment with. We'll have a table going and we'll have the REM pod going in one section. We'll have the K2 in another section. And we're able to kind of, now can you go over there and touch that? Can you go, we use an SLS camera as well. And when we set it up, we're asking for that interaction. Can you lift your hand? Can you, jump up and down? Can you sit down? And we're getting good hits with that at the same time as using the other stuff. Can you sit down with us at the table? So it's getting them to interact with us instead of kind of talking to them or talking at them that we find works.
I tell you, we came up with a phone app, and I'm not usually real big on phone apps, but this one's called Ghost Tube SLS. Now, it works the best with a more advanced phone. Like I've got a Samsung Galaxy S22. That camera system in that phone is incredible, and it has been accurate to some amazing points. It's $2.99 a month to be able to record. It gives you 5 or 6 different skin temperature, which works. It has a thermal screen on it, which works. The SLS is incredibly accurate. We've got a lot of evidence with it that we could provide proof of with other equipment, which is incredible. But I just don't have a lot of faith in it. But I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I'm actually setting up a rig now that has a phone holder on a tripod, and I'm going to put a white light, or you're going to call it daylight up. I'm going to have a 4K GoPro Hero, and I'm going to have a IR light attached to that rig. And I've got 2 battery packs that I'm strapping to the inside that'll make those things run for 9, 10, 12 hours. And I'm just going to see what I get. Yeah. I'm going to see what I get because it's a pretty inexpensive rig for the most part. But I'm a cheapie. I'm a cheapskate. I will do it. I actually have a free K2 meter on my phone. I got from a paranormal team that wrote the program in Spain. And I downloaded it and it works like a champ. Kara compared it to the K2 meter that you use every single day, right on the money. And it's on my phone, which I thought was really odd. But so yeah, I mean, there's things for that to be able to check out. And then a question that Herbie has, and we've only got 10 minutes left of the show. This one quick. Herbie says, would you use an animal with you on an investigation?
No.
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 No,
Judy? No. Debbie?
no.
No. Katie?
So let's, yes, absolutely I would. Yeah, I would. As long as I knew it wasn't malevolent, I would definitely experiment with that for sure. I mean, I grew up on a farm, so a lot of times the animals would alert us before anything. So, I'm not opposed to that. But again, it has to depend on the location.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dog I didn't know was super sensitive. Animals are. And I did not know he was hypersensitive to paranormal activity. And I brought him home. I rescued him from the shelter. And I went to walk him outside at night. And I knew that there was an older man that would cross across my yard and disappear in a pine tree. I don't know why he disappears in a pine tree. That was his gig. He disappears in a pine tree. So I went to go walk the dog out one night, and this guy was going across the yard, and the dog kind of backed up and started deep throat growling like, what the hell is that? So I think the problem with it is, and I would use a dog because I think dogs and cats are very, very sensitive. I know birds are too, which is weird. But dogs especially are they're also more vocal, they're more animated. So I probably would at some point, again, if I knew for a fact it wasn't malevolent, I might, just to see how they react. But, I have a vet friend of mine that said that it just really kind of more scares them because they don't know what it is. They don't know what's going on. So once they get used to seeing this stuff all the time, it'll be a lot easier on them. But, man, I had a dog that was probably the best, paranormal entity detector I've ever had was a dog.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing animal. So I got 3 notes.
So what, ladies, we've got a few minutes left. Tell us what's coming up for you guys. What is coming up for you?
I wrote that down because I knew I wouldn't remember the dates.
That's okay. Where can people want to investigate you? People want to meet you. Where can they get a hold of you? Your website, your Facebook pages, all of that stuff.
What did we did that? Hold on, I'm trying to catch up here. We're doing that. Next one is there's an investigation July 15th and July 29th. We're doing our second public paranormal investigation. And that one, we're actually having some guests from Canadian Paranormal Investigations come down with us. Glenn Laycock, Trish McDonald, and Angel Morgan will be here to help us that night, which is fantastic. And September 30th, we have the Lighthouse Festival Theater in Port Dover investigation. October 7, 14, and 21, we have the Cottonwood Mansion Ghost Walks. And then the last event for the year is December 2nd, which is our third public paranormal investigation at Cottonwood Mansion.
I think if I look close enough, you got Katie drooling. I'm not sure, though.
Katie's welcome to come with us anytime.
Yes, I may have to bring
I've brought her with me virtually on investigations before because, someday I guess Canada will lighten up on the travel international and things will be different. I thought that was going to happen. Has that not happened for you guys yet?
It's happened. Yeah, we can travel now.
So you're saying that you can't come to the U.S. without any challenge?
Yeah.
So Katie, where the hell are you?
I'm coming.
Well, we have so many locations down here in the south of the U.S. that, I've got a bucket list for Katie. She has no idea. I've got a bucket list. And it's going to be real interesting. But I'm glad you guys are finally free to go as you please. But so you got a lot of dates coming up. And then where did people find out they want to know more about you?
Well, if you want to check out our Facebook page, so that's Spirit Hunters Ontario. We're also Spirit Hunters Ontario. That's all one word, all small caps, or no caps. All lowercase, sorry. On Instagram. And we also have a website that's spirithuntersontario.wordpress.com. And through any of those means, you will find a link to Cottonwood Mansion Museum. And that's where you can buy tickets to our public investigations. So that's, as Judy said, the next one is at July 29th. Mm-hmm. We're sold out on the later investigation, but there's one at 6 p.m. We still have some tickets left. So, and it's a very, very active
website up in the chat room. If you want to throw that website up in the chat room here. And
okay.
Yeah, you can do that, and that give people a chance to have a direct direct access to getting tickets or whatever. You know, just think of me someday if you guys ever come down here. It would be good to have you. I like this, guys. I think it's been a lot of fun tonight. I think it's been a lot of really great sharing as well. I think that's an important thing in this business. And, I'm very happy and thankful you guys decided to come out.
Thanks for having us. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Hey, at least this time you weren't just a viewer, Judy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Although we love having you as a viewer, don't get it twisted.
I'm still gonna watch. Not to worry.
Okay.
Every Sunday. Well,
all right, guys, we're gonna get ready to cut this down. We again thank you for your time and visiting with us today, and tossing out all your questions. You guys were so good with that, and I don't think we got to them all. I apologize for that, but we're getting thrown at them pretty quick. You guys are generating a lot of questions, a lot of buzz, so we appreciate that. And guys, again, thanks again for watching us. We appreciate your support, appreciate you showing out, and we look forward to seeing you all again at some other time. But until next time, please be good to each other and yourselves. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.